There comes a time in life when loyalty turns into a silent form of self-destruction. We hold on to people, family, childhood friends, long-term connections because we've been taught that love is unconditional, that blood is thicker than water, and that true friendship lasts forever. But what if staying loyal means sacrificing your peace, your growth, your very sense of self? This is not just about difficult people. This is about the silent erosion of your spirit, masked as love, tradition, or obligation. Today, we're diving into something deeply personal and often painful, the 9 unmistakable signs that it's time to walk away, even from those closest to you. 1. The grip of constant manipulation. Manipulation is one of the most subtle yet damaging dynamics in any relationship. It disguises itself as concern, advice, or love, but its true nature is control. If you consistently find yourself second-guessing your thoughts, feelings, or decisions after interacting with someone, take a closer look. Are they truly helping you reflect, or are they rewriting your reality? The manipulative person often invalidates your experiences, making you feel like your perspective is wrong, even when you know it isn't. You may hear things like, "You're overreacting. You always think the worst. I know you better than you know yourself." These statements don't clarify your confusion, they deepen it. And over time, this kind of psychological fog drains your confidence, your sense of direction, even your identity. Personal reflection. I've seen this happen more often than we'd like to admit. Sometimes it's a parent who always makes you feel like your choices are foolish. Sometimes it's a partner who turns every issue back onto you. The worst part? You begin to believe them. Recognizing manipulation is the first step. The second, reclaiming your voice, even if it means stepping away from the one trying to silence it. 2, absence of support in moments of need. Every healthy relationship is a two-way street, especially when life gets hard. If someone is consistently unavailable, emotionally distant, or simply indifferent when you're struggling, that's not just unfortunate, it's unacceptable. We often excuse this by saying, they're just not good at emotional stuff, or they have a lot going on. But support isn't about grand gestures. It's about presence. Sometimes just being there is enough. If you find yourself weathering every storm alone while the other person is nowhere to be found, or worse, dismissing your pain, that's a red flag you shouldn't ignore. Insight. It's heartbreaking to realize that someone you drop everything for wouldn't even send a message when you need help. But this realization is also liberating. You stop pouring into empty cups. You start protecting your energy. 3, a never-ending stream of complaints. There's a fine line between venting and poisoning the atmosphere. Being around someone who constantly complains creates a negative emotional climate, one that chips away at your mental health. The energy you carry is sacred. If every encounter with someone leaves you feeling weighed down, anxious, or mentally exhausted, it's time to ask, at what cost am I maintaining this connection? Personal take. I used to think I had to be the good listener all the time, that being available meant enduring every emotional dump session without boundaries. But constant negativity is not just draining, it's contagious. It reprograms your mindset and drowns your optimism. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to step away from voices that only know how to echo pain, but never make room for healing. For emotional exhaustion after every interaction. There are people who energize you, and there are those who empty you. It's not always about what they say. Sometimes it's what you feel after they leave, depleted, frustrated, overwhelmed. Emotional exhaustion is a subtle alarm bell. It tells you that the relationship may be one-sided, that you're giving far more than you're receiving. And the longer you ignore it, the heavier it gets. Evaluation. Healthy relationships should be a source of nourishment, not a drain on your vitality. Pay attention to how your body responds after time with someone. Your emotional fatigue is trying to tell you something your logic might be trying to deny. 5. The crumbling foundation of trust. Trust is the backbone of every meaningful relationship. Without it, everything else collapses. If someone constantly lies, breaks promises, or speaks behind your back, you begin to live in a space of suspicion and anxiety. You start censoring yourself. You hold back your truth. You question their intentions. That is not connection, that's emotional survival. Key lesson: rebuilding trust is possible, but only when the other person is genuinely committed to change. If instead, they justify their betrayals or deny your pain, it's time to consider whether forgiveness is truly healing or just another delay in your freedom. What we've explored so far isn't about cutting people off impulsively. It's about honoring your inner peace over patterns of pain. Too often, we normalize relationships that quietly break us, all because the bond is long or the bloodline is strong. But length of time does not equal depth of connection. And being related by blood does not mean you owe your soul. We'll uncover for more powerful signs and conclude with the courage it takes to finally let go, the beauty that follows, and a heartfelt call to action for those standing at the edge of a difficult decision. We uncovered 5 critical signs that signal a relationship, whether with family, friends, or even a lifelong companion, has become more damaging than healing. But the truth is, the most dangerous signs are often the ones we ignore last. In this second part, we'll dive into the final 4 signs that reveal when it's not only okay but necessary to walk away. These aren't just observations. These are wake-up calls. 6. Your boundaries are constantly ignored. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They're the lines that protect your well-being, your energy, and your values. When someone constantly disregards those lines, no matter how many times you've expressed them, you're not being respected. You're being tested. They may say things like, "I was just joking," or "You're overreacting." But repeated boundary violations are not accidents. They're patterns, and they speak louder than any apology. Personal note: I've learned that the right people don't make you defend your boundaries over and over again. They honor them because they honor you. 7. They only come around when they need something. You hear from them when they're in trouble, when they need a ride, when they want money, or when they need to dump their emotional baggage, but never when you just want to share your joy, your growth, or even your silence. That's not love. That's access. True connection is mutual. It's when people show up because they care, not just because they're in crisis. Insight: if someone only remembers your number when their world falls apart, but disappears when you need a hand, they're not your people. You're their resource, not their relationship. 8. They diminish your growth. Sometimes, the people who've known us the longest are the ones most resistant to our growth. They mock your dreams. They downplay your achievements. They whisper doubts disguised as concern. Why? Because your growth challenges their comfort. But here's the truth: you're not meant to remain in the version of yourself that others are most familiar with. You are meant to evolve, and the people who deserve a seat at your table will celebrate that evolution, not sabotage it. Reflection: anyone who makes you feel like you're too much or trying to be better than them, when you're simply trying to better yourself, is afraid, not of your failure, but of your light. Let it shine anyway. 9. The relationship is damaging your mental health. This is the line that should never be crossed. If the connection constantly triggers anxiety, lowers your self-worth, drains your joy, or causes emotional chaos, you need to consider this. At what cost are you keeping the peace? Because if protecting a relationship is destroying your inner world, that's not peace. That's sacrifice. Hard truth: you are not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep others warm, especially when they're the ones holding the match. Letting go is not the end, it's the beginning. Cutting ties can feel brutal, especially when it involves people you once loved deeply. But growth demands space, healing demands courage, and peace often demands release. Letting go isn't rejection, it's redirection. It's you choosing to reclaim your voice. It's you deciding to stop shrinking to fit into relationships that require your silence. It's you saying, I deserve more than this. If this message resonated with you, even a little, do something brave today. Hit that like button to let us know you're choosing peace. Drop a comment below and tell us which sign hit home the hardest for you. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos that support your healing, growth, and transformation. You never know, your story might give someone else the courage to finally walk away from a toxic bond. Because at the end of the day, you deserve relationships that feel like home, not battles.